continue?
Yeah, we can see.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, my name's Adam Seabridge, and today I'm going to talk to you about AI in Sitecore, and we'll do some live demos as well as some community modules a bit later on. So a quick slide about me. I'm a senior Sitecore architect at SoftServe. I've been working with Sitecore for about 13 years, and I help organise the user groups in Manchester and sometimes in London as well. So what we're going to talk about today is the evolution of AI in Sitecore. So, where we started a little while back now, the latest innovations of Sitecore Stream, and then we're going to look at what the future might hold for Sitecore and AI, and then dive into some of the community modules. And then part of that, I'll be doing some live demos of the module I created, which is S-3PO, a Gen AI module, and some others as well. But first of all, why should we care about AI? So we've heard a lot about it for the past few years. It seems it's not really going anywhere anytime soon, and there's like huge growth in the market still, and it's predicted to quadruple by 2030, I believe. So it's definitely not going away anytime soon. And just a side note that all of the images in this presentation are actually generated by AI. If anyone has any questions, by the way, please drop them in the chat, and then I'll try and pick them up at the end. And then, yeah, hopefully I'll have enough time to cover them off. All right, so how did AI evolve in Sitecore? So back in 2019, Sitecore first entered the AI arena with Cortex, and then Sitecore AI was released around 2021, and that was followed by Sitecore Search AI integration in 2022, and then most recently Sitecore Stream announced at the end of last year. So if we look at the first AI integration in Sitecore, it was Cortex. And Cortex is a machine learning engine within Sitecore. It's built on top of Sitecore's DXP, and it lets you analyze any data in the DXP, including your own data. I believe it was part of the 9.1 initial release, and it provides a scalable platform for implementing machine learning and processing engine and personalization. And one of the key things here was the suggested personalization of content. So you can see that here on the screen. So there's an example here of Cortex in action, actually suggesting certain personalization options here based on the data that it has. And it also later there were further releases of Cortex with additional features, and they added some improvements around the analytics and processing in XDB as well, and also content tagging. So this was kind of the start of AI in Sitecore, which was kind of 5 years ago now. So then from that, we moved on to AI, or Sitecore AI, and this was mostly in XM Cloud and Content Hub. And you can see here is quite a number of integrations. So things like suggested A/B tests, which we had in XP for a while, and not really driven by AI as such, but based off XDB data. But this was AI generated along with segmentation for analytics, also personalization. Again, it has machine learning algorithms in there, and campaign targeting. And then more recently, we've seen generative AI functionality added into Sitecore AI. So in XM Cloud, we've got content translations. We've also got the ability to rephrase marketing copy and so on. And you can see here, there's an example of generative AI here. in Content Hub to allow it to actually generate content based on a prompt. And you'll see a lot more of that in the future as well. We move on to 2022. Sitecore purchased a SaaS platform, I believe called Reflection at the time, and that came with like a commerce search tool with AI capabilities, and they then built on top of that to create a product search called Discover, and then that technology effectively became Sitecore Search. So now Sitecore has a full AI-powered search tool that can search not only commerce content, but also any other content across the composable stack. And you can customize it and provide predictive and instant messaging suggestions. You can highlight specific content. It can do AI-powered matching and sourcing and so on. And it is still leaning heavily, there is still a lot of functionality around the commerce features, and it also provides some clever insights and analytics based off of the data it captures. And then that brings us to the present day. So at the end of last year, in October 2024, Sitecore Stream was announced at Symposium, and it's a collection of secure, brand-aware AI capabilities. And the idea behind it is to give you your marketing and productivity teams productivity gains, basically, by streamlining the process of creating content and sharing content. And so it's part of Sitecore's intelligent DXP, as they're terming it. So it's a core feature of that. And it's, I believe, being early beta tested. So there's an early beta testing program, and it will eventually be available across the whole of the composable stack. So I believe if you wanted access to this currently, you need to speak to your account manager and see if you can be part of that early program. So one thing that's really important is your data is never going to get used. It's never used to train the LLM, and that ensures it remains secure, confidential, and Sitecore Stream features are built in with automatic AI guardrails to protect against sensitive brand information being shared outside of your environment. And so you can see there like the kind of 4 pillars of it currently. So it's as I said, part of the DXP, the intelligent DXP. It's a brand aware AI tool. It has AI enhanced workflows and generative co-pilots, and I'll dig into each of these in a little bit more detail on the next slide. But what you'll see if you watch these 2 videos here, this one's like a really kind of marketing-y video that's a couple of minutes and it moves very fast. So it's hard to take in everything that's happening, but this video here is really useful, and that's I think that was shared back in November by the product team, and that gives you a good overview of what's in the stream now and what's coming in the future. So I definitely suggest watching those. So trying to dig into this functionality a little bit more and understand it. So Stream is basically enhancing the content experience, and it's enabling faster collaboration and creating cohesive brand experiences is the idea. So the brand aware AI, what that does is it actually understands your brand identity, color schemes, messaging, market trends, and it does that by you actually uploading information into Stream. So you give it various contextual information, you give it your brand guidelines and so on and so forth. So then it understands about your brand and therefore takes that data and suggests and acts on that in line with your brand values and brand guidelines, etc. So it'll try and automate and streamline a lot of tasks that are manual at the moment. And you can see, for example, here, you could do some like market research on a brand, so you can analyze competitors, and it will suggest various information regarding your competitors. It will also it has this inbuilt copilot functionality. So this is an example of one where it can read your brand guidelines and your brand tone of voice and tell you about it, or it can create you a brief based on understanding your customers. It also has generative AI features. So you can see here, it allows you to rewrite the text into different tones, either a friendly tone or a formal tone, etc. And then down here again, generative AI, where it is suggesting multiple alternatives for a particular component. And then it will also try and optimize the workflow around collaborating over content. So you can see here this conversation around a particular image and feedback loop there. So the idea being that it streamlines all your brand governance, creation of briefs, and ensures brand consistency and relevancy all times. So I've only seen demos of this. I've not actually had access to it yet. But some of these features, like suggesting recommendations for improving SEO and running various tests, etc., all looks pretty powerful stuff and quite interesting. So it'll be really exciting to see what Sitecore will do next with Stream and actually get access to this when it's available. So what does the future look like? So there's some specifics that have been shared by Sitecore around Stream and capabilities across the composable stack. So they have something that's being released soon for AI-driven content tagging of images in Content Hub. So that's this screenshot on the left-hand side. And what that does is it actually analyzes your tags, your kind of tagging strategy and implementation, as well as the image itself, to understand more about it and provide content tagging. It also has a generative AI tool to actually generate UX to build components in XM Cloud. So that's this one on the right-hand side. And it will basically create a component for you based off designs and prompts, and store that in like a central library, central component library, as if it was built just like any other XM Cloud component. So that sounds pretty cool. And then also there's tooling within Content Hub for finding duplicate images. This example here is searching for, say, a palm tree, and it finds duplicates, or it will also find similar images. So that could be really useful for content authors when they're trying to find particular assets. And there's lots more coming in 2025, so a lot more integrations across Sitecore's composable stack. So that's only half the picture. That's out-of-the-box Sitecore functionality or additional SaaS products that you can add on. But what's out there in the community? And my module that I've written, S-3PO, that I'm going to demo later, is just one of a number of modules. So to start with, I know Rodrigo from the Sitecore community. He's another Sitecore MVP, and he has created 3 different Sitecore modules. So the first one is the Sitecore Gen AI Assistant, and that is a generative AI module, as you might assume. He's also got AI Content Profiler, so that's about automating the process around profile cards and managing those within Sitecore. And then he has MV Pinny, which is his AI assistant tool. So we'll deep dive into each of these a little bit more. I think he released his Gen AI module just after I did, in October time. I know he demoed this at Symposium, So you can see a little demo of this here where he's creating some content, generating some content, and you can enter the item name. You can then give it a prompt for what kind of content you want. And then you can give it some keywords if you like. You can also choose then how long it is and what kind of tone it has. And then you can select the fields that you wish to populate with that content, including images. And then that will go off and generate the content for you based on that. I believe this is using OpenAI to do this. And then you'll see here this image isn't present at the moment because it has a synchronous mode where it uses Content Hub to generate the images in the background. I think it can also do it synchronously as well. In addition to that, he also has the ability to not only create content but improve content in your in Sitecore as well, and then also a feature where it will assist you with reviewing content with AI as well. So yeah, go and check that out. It's a pretty cool module. So the second module is his AI content profiler. So this module leverages generative AI and it automatically assigns profile cards to Sitecore pages based on the content, and this helps ensure that the cards are always up to date and reduces the workflow to content editors. We all know with Sitecore XP features, personalization and management of the kind of marketing automation features and so forth is often overlooked because there isn't enough time or resource to do it. So this is a tool that will help with that. So it will automatically assign profile cards, ensuring they're up to date without manual intervention. It reduces the workload for content editors as it allows them to focus on creating content instead, which is important rather than managing the cards. It enhances the personalization because it will suggest what personalization you should do, and it's very easy to use and pick up and to install as well, as it's just a PowerShell module. So again, I encourage you to take a look at that. It's got a lot of features. Okay, and then
Hi, Adam.
Yeah.
Before we go ahead, we have one question for the first module. So can you please go through that?
Okay. Yeah, sure. I don't think I can see the question at the moment. Are you able to read it out? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. So it's saying for the first module that is it the first time, one-time activity, when creating a new item. So Vipin, maybe you can unmute yourself and then you can discuss about.
Yeah, thank you, Rinku. Yeah, thank you. Hi, Adam.
Yep.
This is Vipin. So the question is when we are creating this content for our item. So question is is this only available when we are creating a new item, or can we go for an existing item, edit it, and create the content generate from AI at that time as well?
Yeah, so you can use it to improve content as well. So you'll see when you clicks the tool at the start, clicks the button at the start, you'll see here that he has multiple options. So in a second, you'll see he has the option to not only generate it, but also update content with AI.
Okay.
So you can do the same thing and you can pick different fields and prompt. So if you just wanted to modify one field, you just select that one field and give it a prompt. And then it would, update that content.
So, which behind the scene, which API it's targeting? It's Open API, OpenAI, or something we can configure?
Yes. Yeah, I believe it's using OpenAI. And yeah, you need a OpenAI key in order to do that. So in my demo, my module later, I go into setting up that, and I believe Rodrigo's module works very similarly. So that should give you a bit more of an idea. But yeah, if you go to his this GitHub link here, he's got all the setup instructions on there. It's pretty easy to follow.
Yep. Okay.
No worries.
Okay, great.
Was there another question on that, or?
No, I'm good. You can continue. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah,
Great.
please continue.
No worries. So this is the last module from Rodrigo. So I believe he told me this is called MV Pinny because he named it after the badge, his Sitecore MVP badge that's watched him over the years develop Sitecore solutions and absorb all of his knowledge. So the idea is it's a chat assistant. It's actually you can get to it in your browser and use it independently, but it's actually designed to be used as a Chrome extension, and it works with XP and XM Cloud, and also with in Pages, for example. And it provides real-time support and features for content creation and shares you kind of links regarding the contextual part of the platform you're in. So there's a little video. It's probably easiest for Rodrigo to demo this to you. So
page like this.
I've jumped to the right point in this video, so you can see he's installed the extension, and he's now going to show you what it does when you go over contextual links within Sitecore after enabling it.
As you hover now, you see these yellow boxes to allow you to select the elements you want to learn more. I am going to select this whole chunk. Sitecore MVP for Sitecore opens in the right and gives you some information about the place you are, as well as some common dots about where you are. You can select one of these dots to learn more. MVP will give you back an explanation. You can select as many questions as you want, but you can also type your own questions here. MVP will give you the answer. It's important to tell that it works with any pages in Sitecore, XP, XM, and XM Cloud. We select marketing applications. And as you can see, MVP will give you context about that and the common dots. It works even with Sitecore pages and the most advanced tools. Here you see a demo working in pages where I am able to select, and MVP will give me more information about that. Thanks. See you next year. Bye-bye.
So that's another module from Rodrigo. I think that's pretty cool. I've not done much of it myself, but he's always releasing updates to it as well, adding more and more information so that it learns more and more, and its intelligence grows over time. All right. So this is another Sitecore module, another Gen AI module. So this one is from Christopher, and this is called Sitecore Suggest. So again, uses Gen AI, but this time to do things like summarizing text, and it integrates directly into Sitecore, I guess, like Rodrigo's, but this isn't built with PowerShell, and it uses OpenAI. And you can download it and install it. And there's some install instructions that you need to go through with various config and adding your API key and so on, but it's all explained in the GitHub link. I don't have a demo of this one, but it's pretty simple, works pretty nicely. So you just basically, after you've installed it, you'll see in the top left-hand corner there, it says suggest in that speech bubble on the top review bar. So you click that, and then you can then basically select the text you want, select the field you want to write a summary for, and then how long it should be, how it should write it, whether it should be medium, long, etc. And then it will generate the text for you, and then you can choose the field to update. So slightly different approach to the implementation to Rodrigo and to my module. But it's pretty cool. So again, go and take a look at that. And his blog post covers. He has a blog post as well to go to cover this. So that's worth reading. All right. So this module is very cool. This is a bit of departure from the other AI modules because this is to try and streamline or assist Sitecore developers. So this is a Sitecore JSS Copilot, and it has two key features. So one of them is the design to code feature. So it will basically take any design and convert it into a React component. And the other is a code conversion feature where you can basically give it things like old-fashioned scribe and code or MVC, or even contents resolvers, custom contents resolvers, and it will rewrite them into React, into JavaScript. And it also has inbuilt support for a kind of tool that's a little bit like GitHub Copilot that will actually modify the code for you and improve it if you give it some prompts. So we're actually going to do a quick demo of this. So stop my presentation. All right, so we go here, you can see that we have this JSS Copilot open, and I already downloaded some sample files. So I've got this Bootstrap. Everyone knows Bootstrap, I'm sure. This image of the Bootstrap hero component with some buttons and some text and title, and I just upload that. And then what I can do is choose my model, and I can, if I want some instructions here, I'm not going to. I'm just going to just run it, and this goes off and does its thing and creates me a React component real time based on this image, and then I can actually preview this when it's finished, and it will show me it working. Pretty awesome. And then if I want, I can come down here and I can do something like add a link. Or something like that. And you'll see here you can choose the styling as well. So if you're using or not using Tailwind, using Sys modules or style components, you can do that. It only supports Next.js at the moment, but potentially more features will be added in future. So I'm running this now, and actually you can see it's already added that new button property field and rewritten it for me, and then I can preview it. There we go, we've got a link added. Pretty cool. And then if we flip to the other side, the code conversion feature, I already put in this is actually a rendering contents resolver. So this is just C#.NET, how we would do a contents resolver at the moment for the layout service, and you can actually just convert that to JavaScript, and it does it for you. And then we can look at the other feature, which is MVC. So this is probably a use case that I could see a lot of people using this for. If we want to try and take something like an existing MVC component. So here I'm just copying this from, I'm sure most people are familiar with this, Helix Base, which is Neil Shack's project that a lot of people use for the base for Sitecore MVC projects. And we've got our, this is a hero component here in MVC. This is our view, and it's rewriting it real time into React for me. Yeah, so I was really impressed with this, and I can see a lot of people in situations where they're moving to headless, moving to XM Cloud, have an existing MVC project, and they need to migrate to this or migrate, and this will really help you with doing that. So I'll go back to my slides. Okay, so lastly, this is my module. So this is S-3PO, named S-3PO because I'm a fan of Star Wars. So and C-3PO is a droid that does language translation and tries to help people. So it seemed like a sensible name. It is built with SPE, like Rodrigo's module. It also uses OpenAI. I have some rewriting features with multiple suggestions, and also image generation as well, which again gives you different variations. So you can see an example right here. I've got a pretty detailed blog post here on it, and also the GitHub page where you can download it and follow the install instructions. So what I'm going to do is do another demo of this and show you how it all works. Switch over on my slides a second. All right, so I have already installed the module, and it because it's SPE, it doesn't mean you need to have, or it's built with SPE, it doesn't mean you need to have Sitecore PowerShell extensions installed. And you'll see it's down here, S-3PO. So this is where it lives, and there's a settings here for it, which we need to update once we install it. So I'll just run you quickly through the setup process. So if you go to the GitHub repository, you can download it. The link is at the bottom here. You can download the release. So that is the install file for it. And it's built to support Sitecore 10.3 and 10.4. It's been tested with 10.3 and 10.4 and SPE 6.4. I haven't tried it on all the versions, but I can't see why it wouldn't work. And I'm using ChatGTP for rewriting the text, and I'm using DALL-E 2 and 3 for generating images. And you'll see how you can configure these different options in the settings. One important thing is you do need an OpenAI key, so you need to go to openai.com and generate one. Then you can go in and install the package in the normal way you would with the Sitecore Package Manager. And then after that, you do need to rebuild your SPE integration points. So I believe you have to do the same for Rodrigo's module as well in his instructions. And then it will be installed and it will show up as I showed you. And there is one manual bit of config you need to do, which is to go into the web config, and you need to find this content security policy section and add this custom header. And this is so that it can go off and request images from this URL. Otherwise, Sitecore blocks it. So that's just one important thing. And then other than that, that's all you need to do for the install process. And then we can go in and configure our settings. So if I jump back over here, as I say, we go into the settings item here, which I've already got open. So you need to put your OpenAI key into here. It's quite a long key, so it's probably double that length. And then here we have our different model options you can choose. So I think by default, I've got it set to this one because it's a bit cheaper. But you can experiment with all the different types of models and just change that and save it, and it will use that for its next request. Then we have to, by default, I think it just puts it into the media folder, but you can choose where you want to save your images. And these are all images that I've generated with the module. I've been testing it. And then lastly, we can choose our AI model as well. So if I switch it to DALL-E 2, and then I can save it. And it now is going to use that for generating images. So if we go over here, I can show you how it works. So I've created a test page. So this is my test page about Star Wars: A New Hope, which was this first Star Wars film. And you can see it's already got some content in it. It's also got an image. I generated this with the module. This was using DALL-E 3, which generates some really nice images. So we'll go and click on the Review tab, and you can see the options here. So if I do the rewrite one first, what we can do is we can choose our style. So we can say we want to rewrite this text, and we want to make it simple. So we want to simplify it a bit. We can choose how many variations we'd like. So I've gone for 3. How focused we want it. And then we can choose which field it is that we're actually rewriting. So we don't want the title field, we want the text field, which is this one here. And then we let it go off and do its thing. And this is, calling OpenAI, sending that text to it, and it comes back my suggestions. So it shows you the original text here, and it gives you a character count as well. And it also tells you what the options were that you selected. And then I can then look at these different variations, and this one is the shortest and seems to be quite simple. So I'm going to pick this one. So select that variation, click OK, and it then updates my field here. So if I close that, you should see it'll actually update this. And if there's any errors during this process, it will actually tell you that. Flag those up to you. So now if I look at the image generation capabilities over here, we can ask something. So we can do something like, let's save some time, a spaceship from Star Wars on a desert planet at night. And I can ask for, depending on the version that I'm using, so I'm using DALL-E 2 at the moment, I can have up to 3 images with that. Your sizes vary based on the image model you're using as well. And you can choose the type and the size, the quality and the size, the style, and you can also choose which image field it is. So I only have 1 image field here, but if there was more here, I could choose a different one. So it's going off now to DALL-E 2, generating me some images. If there was a problem with like my API key, or if it failed for some reason, like you run out of credit, it will actually tell you that in the errors. It will pop up with an error box. So you can see it's generating me 3 images here. These look a little bit like video game-esque. They're not brilliant, but that's because DALL-E 2 is not as cool. I don't think it has as many features, and you'll see in a minute that when we use DALL-E 3, we get much better images. But you can see it does the same thing. It tells you what text you entered, what options you chose, and gives you 3 variations. You can click OK on that, and that then saves it. And it uploads it to the media library where you've chosen to do it. So this isn't using Content Hub or anything. This is just standard Sitecore. And there you go. It's saved it in the media library. So if we now jump back over here and choose DALL-E 3 instead. I've just got to open a different tab because it makes it easier. So jumping around. And then we can do this again. So we can go in and let's do exactly the same prompts just to demonstrate how much better DALL-E 3 is. I'm going to leave everything else the same. One thing you will note is if you try and do something like this, it will tell you, it isn't supported. So it has some pretty good validation built in. So we'll choose a size that is allowed. Usually DALL-E 3 takes a little bit longer because I think it's more complex. It's a more advanced model, but it does come back with much better images. I also think it costs a little bit more as well. But to be honest, it's not very expensive. Like all of my tests have probably cost me under £50 generating this module, like most £100, and I've used it a lot. So here you go, it's come back with a really nice image here. And we can select that. So yeah, I mean, we only have 1 image in this case because it only gives us 1 variation for DALL-E 3. Not my limitation, that's OpenAI's. And you see it should now, when we close that, same image. And there we go. Let me just jump back to the presentation. All right. So what next for S-3PO? So I've got some plans afoot. So one of them is to try and build in the experience editor support. That's quite tricky actually with PowerShell. I've not seen anyone else do that with their modules, and that might be why, because it's actually quite complex to do that, or not possible. I'm going to have a go at doing that without having to write C# code, etc. Ideally. And then I want to add in some content generation from prompts, because it doesn't do that currently, summarization, and then hopefully some translation and language support as well, and more settings and options, maybe some more models as well that have been released since I developed this. So there will be a version 2 of the module at some point this year, hopefully in this quarter. I'll get around to adding some of those things and releasing the version 2. But yeah, take a look at my GitHub repository on that and my blog post.